There's also times where you need to put your head down with what you've learned and execute. Execution is what gets the results. Action is what gets the results. And this is something that's very popular, especially with entrepreneurs that want to start their own business with no experience. It's okay to have no experience, but you've got to be willing to take the massive action.
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. Hi and welcome back to the My Future Business Show. My name is Rick Nusky, and before we start today, I just want to send out a thank you to all of the My Future Business audience. The feedback that you have been sending through is just absolutely magical, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate the feedback, so thank you very much. Now, on today's call, I'm with Sam Habib, and we're going to be talking about business, mindset, marketing, and search engine optimization. Welcome to the show, Sam.
Thank you very much, Rick. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, no, it's absolutely my pleasure to have you here. Now, Sam and I were talking a little bit offline earlier about what we're going to be discussing during this call. But I think, Sam, one of the best places for us to start is to learn a little bit more about you first. Things like where you currently live and what you like doing when you're not working.
Awesome. Those are my favorite things to talk about. I live in San Diego, sunny San Diego, California. I'm from New Jersey. A few years ago, I decided to go where the weather was warm. And
Yes.
the first place that I touched down was Las Vegas. Las Vegas was actually cold when I got there during the wintertime. Very surprising. Thought it was hot all the time. But I ended up moving down to San Diego right next to the beach, and I've got a sweet view of the bay every day, and I really enjoy it here. Weather's good, and I still jet back and forth between the East Coast and the West Coast all the time, but it's great to say that I can live here and enjoy the warm weather.
Yeah, it seems to be something that those who have had experiencing success have that opportunity to travel where the weather suits them the most.
100%.
Now, do you any sports that are like more winter oriented, or do you like summer sports? What do you like doing?
Well, I love playing basketball, and I'll play catch with the football. You can play catch in the winter or in the fall or
Mm-hmm.
the spring or the summer. But I do like to do stuff outside in the warmth.
Yep.
I just actually went fishing in Mexico. I took my brother out. It was our first time ever going out fishing together. We went out like 5, 6 hours deep in the ocean, and we caught like 20 fish.
I always like to learn more about the entrepreneurial spirit and things like that, where this spark came from for you. What was the genesis moment that you realized that you were an entrepreneur, you wanted to get into business?
Well, that really started for me when my friend actually moved out and dropped out of high school. And I looked at him like he was crazy. I was one of those students with always A's and B's, taking the advanced classes, and just was naturally programmed to perform well in school in order to go to college and do a great job in college. And the end goal for me was to be a doctor. That was like a 13 to 15 year path for
Mm.
me to become a surgeon. Want to be one of those guys in the ER when you come in, whatever problem you got, we're prepared to fix you up.
Hmm.
But one of these days, I ended up moving into entrepreneurship because I saw someone else do it. I saw him living the free life, not having to wake up in the morning and go to school or go to work, and kind of worked on his own terms. And I started looking into that, looking into more people that were business owners and entrepreneurs, and started meeting people doing millions per month.
Hmm.
It started off meeting people that were doing millions per year. Then you'd meet people doing millions per month, and then eventually you'd meet people doing tens of millions per month. And that just really opened my mind up by meeting so many people and looking for these kind of people, the possibility of what can happen with your life if you just choose the direction. And at the time, my direction wasn't entrepreneurship, but as soon as I started to switch it,
Yeah, yeah.
I started seeing a lot more for the hours that I was putting into my craft.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing, Sam. I wonder, what is one of the common threads that you've seen in mingling with people that are on that sort of income level? What do they do different?
Those people are really just amazing characters. What they do different is they give a lot.
Yeah,
They never ask for anything in return. They always have supported me. Every single person that I meet that's at that level, it's amazing.
yeah,
The energy is just, all you can do is just sit there and be a good listener and absorb that energy and pass it on, pass it forward onto the next person and help someone else. It's really great.
we often talk about providing value up front. Do they have a natural tendency to add as much value as they can without expecting anything in return whatsoever?
100%.
Mm-hmm.
So many times. And that's what really inspired me to go after starting my own business and start after entrepreneurship, because I want to help people.
Mm.
I wanted to be a doctor and help people. And my business actually helps doctors, helps Fortune 500 companies that have a cause and want to help people. And I really enjoy it.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely, and it's a wonderful journey to be on that level of freedom. Now, we talked about, Sam, a little earlier. What we do in our downtimes in terms of recreational activities. I wonder, um, is it important from I guess, a mindset perspective to have a daily routine that you commit to in terms of your physical body? Does that help?
It does help, especially, yeah, when you're one of those people like me who spends a lot of time traveling, catching
Hmm.
planes, on the computer. That stuff, it does take a toll on your body.
Yeah,
And just maintaining at least the least bit of consistency with your physical activity, it's going to go a long way. Eventually, you're going to realize that prevention is the thing that you're avoiding. The
yeah.
prevention thing that you're doing to avoid any further complications in the future.
Yeah, I am. I often try to direct the conversation to experiences for the benefit of the My Future Business audience who love this sort of content. So thank you very much for sharing. I wonder, what was that first experience? What did it feel like for you when you started to realize, hey, what I'm doing is actually working? How did it feel?
It felt great. It felt amazing. I didn't really come from, all types of prosperity. My family immigrated
Hmm.
from Egypt in 2003. And my first year in America, I lived on a farm and didn't really leave the farm. And we worked a farm, and because that's what we did in Egypt. And I never knew any kind of like serious income
Hmm.
until I started making it myself and I started getting inspired by other people. Before my first business started, I think I was working for $8 an hour. I was a barista.
Hmm.
And believe me, I was one of the best baristas in New Jersey. I served coffee with the biggest smile. I had so much fun. I would do that job again, not to make money, but for the fulfillment and enjoyment of making people's days by giving them a fresh cup of coffee in the morning. You see someone that just woke up all bummed out, you cheer them up, you give them a little joke, crack them up.
Yep.
I
Yep.
really enjoyed that. And it felt great to actually, when I put my 30, 40 hours in, it felt great to get $1,000,
Hmm.
my $1,000 from 30, 40 hours, when before I would get $200. And it'd be 30, 40 hours on my feet.
Yep. You talked a little bit about the farm work, and I guess inherent with farm work, historically, you would tend to think that that's quite hard, laborious work. Do you think that experience that you've had with your family background and working the farm has impacted the way you see business today?
Yes, exactly.
It's very telling, isn't it? Because you know you're not going to achieve any level of success without making any sort of an effort. And again, to help educate the My Future Business audience, Sam, what can you expect early on in your entrepreneurial journey? You're going to see dollars roaming in the door straight away. What does the experience look like?
Well, I've seen this happen a lot of times. You'll get the dollars rolling in right away,
Mm-hmm.
and then it might go dry. But keep on going, because they'll come back and they'll come in volume. And a lot of times the dollars don't come back in right away.
Yeah.
A lot of times you're going to be working for 3 years, 2 years, and you're not going to notice incredible results. You're not going to see your dreams come to fruition, but 5 years to make yourself a millionaire, a self-made millionaire, is not a long time. And a lot of people that I know that have achieved success have put their heads down and believed and continued to have a high level of optimism and great energy and attract success for years on years without seeing the freeing results.
If you ever have down days, I wonder what are some of the strategies that you use to pick yourself back up?
Look at other successful people in the news. I'm subscribed to all kinds of magazines like Fast Company and Inc. and Forbes. And whenever I have a down day, I check out those magazines and I read about people and what they've overcome. In addition, I love looking at Instagram memes. Like, for example, the other day was a tough day. The other day was tough. We've got right now peak point in my company. We're doing numbers like we've never done before.
Mm-hmm.
Since last year, we've grown 100%, exactly 100%. I was looking at the numbers yesterday. And man, it's hard. Growth is hard. The problems, they only get the same problems. Some you might overcome, but a lot of times you're going to run into the same growth problems over and over again, especially with marketing agency, where it's just, we need more people on board working, And I looked at this Instagram meme and it was so funny. It's like, if you're having a bad day, just remember that we moved 6,000 bricks into the wrong address. And it was these two kids. They had 6,000 bricks unloaded at the wrong address.
Oh, no. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Man, I said, okay, I'm not having it that rough.
Yeah, no, look, and one of the telling things, Sam, I'm taking away from the call is that you have to have a bit of a sense of humor. Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that.
And with those that are working around you, do you feel that, being a leader is, I guess, contagious for those who work with you?
It really is. And this is what I tell my employees, this is what I tell my salespeople. If you're going to manage someone else and have them performing a duty for you, they better believe and they better see you perform that same duty like you're the best.
Yeah.
Because that's going to motivate them to be a self-starter and a leader in their own regard.
It's really funny, isn't it? Because, we talk about leadership being, the top of the tree, when in actual fact, we all have a role in leadership to play in terms of what we do within an organization. If you don't know something as a leader, Sam, with that in mind, is it important for you to engage with the people that are working with you to learn a bit more about their role, do you think?
Yeah, 100%. Everybody that you work with should be on a personal connection with you. Everybody that's on the inside of your business, they've got to feel like family.
Yeah.
Because culture is what grows companies and scales companies. And culture, that's manifested from within a personal connection between everybody within the organization and a belief that they're all working together as a team for a greater purpose.
Yeah, I think it's a good segue into, I guess, the next phase of the call, Sam, in this idea that we can't all know everything. We might know a little bit about everything as the leader in the business, but let's talk about marketing. Do you have a team of marketers? How do you go about marketing in your business?
I have a team of marketers all over the world. I have people in the United States. I have people in the Philippines. Love working with people in the Philippines, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I also have people in India
Yep.
and Ukraine. So my team's from all over the world, but I'm not afraid to hire some of the best marketers here in the country that charge premium fees, because I've learned over time it's going to take us 3-4 months to ramp up to where one of these guys in the United States that charges a premium fee
Mm-hmm.
would ramp up in just 30 days. So sometimes I'd rather work with the best, and I'd rather spend the money to work with the best.
Yeah.
That's something that we educate our clients as well. The new ones that we onboard, they always ask us, hey, there's so many other people that would offer some of the services that you offer for much less. And here's what we tell them. Do you want to drive a Rolls Royce to work every day?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you want to drive the next best thing, which is not a Rolls Royce? You can imagine the answer that they give us every time.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, both will get you there, but one's about the quality of the service, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, and speaking of which, let's take a deep dive into the core of your business. If you could share exactly what it is that you do inside of your business and how you help your customers.
What we do day in and day out is move websites on Google. So what I like to say is we're digital movers.
Mm-hmm.
We work in digital real estate. We get companies and businesses like Verizon, like Bed Bath & Beyond, Dunkin' Donuts, some big names, and a lot of other companies, healthcare professionals, attorneys, contractors. That's why we say we're digital movers. We'll move anybody.
Yeah. I mean, you've got some incredible names on the list here: Forbes, Inc., Entrepreneur, Bob Proctor, Techno Examiner, Huffington Post. The list goes on, doesn't it?
Yeah, we've been doing this for quite a while, and we built an amazing network of media companies and professional relationships. And it's just amazing. The things that I live by to grow my network every year exponentially:
Mm-hmm.
integrity, longevity, and leverage. That's been my business philosophy since I had my first mentor.
Yeah.
And that's what he taught me. And believe me, I've had so many mentors, and these 3 principles are the same principles I've been rolling with year after year after year. Just keeps on doing me right.
Do you find, Sam, from a personal development perspective, you talked about mentors. Do you think ongoing education and improvement of self is important?
It's very important. But there's also times, and this is what I've been working on past year,
Mm-hmm.
there's also times where you need to put your head down with what you've learned and execute. Execution is what gets the results. Action is what gets the results. And this is something that's very popular, especially with entrepreneurs that want to start their own business with no experience. It's okay to have no experience, but you've got to be willing to take the massive action. And oftentimes you'll find the dilemma is most of their time is spent watching videos, watching trainings, listening to a million different people's advice on social media.
Mm-hmm.
The real results and the real income is driven from putting your head down and executing what you've learned on your personal development journey.
And it's so easy to get into this idea of, or the perpetual student mode. They're always continually learning and not applying. Is there sort of maybe a ratio that people can think about in terms of how much content and ideas they take in before they start to knuckle down and actually implement one? Is it a 1 in 3 thing, or do you just take one big idea for a month and work with it? What does your approach look like?
It's going to be different for everybody in every specific profession,
Mm-hmm.
every specific niche that you get involved with, that's really something you've got to feel it. You've got to feel it. You've got to follow your intuition. Your intuition gets you into what you start. You've got to take the next step and start executing, start getting the results. One really good quote that I got from one of the advisors of the Prince of Nigeria is, the man without a set plan is left with nothing to execute and therefore becomes his own executioner.
It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it?
Exactly. 100%. Having a plan and having it written down on a piece of paper, or I like to draw it out on a big board.
Yeah.
I like to draw it out with circles and squares and connect the dots of where we need to go and break it down as simple as possible.
Sam, when you talk about your business moves other businesses online, what are some of the specific tool sets that you use to make that happen for your clients?
A lot of what we do has to do with Google's algorithm. And I like Google a lot because it's a dinosaur. They've got billions of searches per day.
Yep.
And they're not just going to go up and change their entire algorithm overnight. So it's been very easy to stay consistent with it despite what the mass media will say.
Mm-hmm.
Got an update again, got another update. Everybody's panicking, but really it's just optimization of keywords on your website.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of traffic that comes in. So for example, this is an extremely simple but high level overview. Amazon. Everybody wants to know why Amazon's crushing it online. Why, when you search for anything, could be a reclining chair, could be a baby's crib,
Mm-hmm.
Amazon's coming up number one in Google, organic. Amazon is also Google's biggest paid advertiser with Google Ads. However, the reason they come up everywhere is because 110 million people per month are Googling Amazon's brand name. So when companies like Target will ask us, why can't we beat Amazon? Why is Amazon always on top of our listing in the search? Well, that's because you guys are getting 10 to 15 million people per month Googling your brand name. Amazon's doing consistently over 100 million people a month.
Yeah, big numbers, aren't they?
Yeah, it's hard to compete. So brand search authority is huge. And then the actual mentions that you have within Google's database is going to be very important. Every backlink that you get, every link back to your site is considered a vote to promote your site up in the rankings. Now there's 16 to 17 different things that we look at when ranking websites in Google, but ultimately we start with brand search and we start with what sites are linking to you. Some people might have spammy sites. Some people might, for example, in the pharmaceutical niche, it's a nightmare.
Yes.
People send negative search engine optimization to each other like there's no tomorrow. They'll send the worst kind of backlinks, the worst kind of content onto your site to penalize you within Google. And like, it just never ends in these big competitive industries like pharmaceuticals, or right now CBD niches is really insane.
What's the level of clientele do you work with? Is that small to medium-sized organizations, those with great brand awareness, those without? What does your customer base look like?
So we don't work with startups.
Mm-hmm.
We only work with businesses that have a great reputation, and we work with businesses that have consistent lead flow already. And the reason why is because that number one tip right there is your brand search. You got to come in with at least some kind of branding, some kind of, people looking you up every month. And we work with companies that are in the multi-billion-dollar valuations.
Mm-hmm.
We also work with companies that are only doing $1 million a year. But it's been so cool. I actually have had some projects where they were doing like 50K a month, and now they're doing $1 million plus a month. This is case studies over the past 2 years. So I've taken on some clientele that is outside of my scope of what I like to work with,
Hmm.
but it's all case by case. I gotta like the company. I really gotta like the reputation, and I gotta love the product or the service that they're offering.
Yeah, well, that actually opens up a segue into my next question, Sam, which was to do with what is the onboarding sequence and what is the process you follow to actually assess whether or not somebody is a good fit to work with you?
So we've got an application on our website. What we do is we send our traffic there. People might find us on Google, or people might find us through referral and contact us. And this is what we'll tell them. Hey, fill out our application on the site. We'll get back to you with a video analysis. So if we approve and we accept, we feel like we want to take them on, we give them everything that they need to know in a video analysis. So the things that we discussed here, I discussed that and about 15 other different things that will dominate their competition in a 5 to 6 minute video. And we've got a few people that are on board right now doing these kind of videos, but we turn down a lot more than we take on. I'd say we turn down like 30 to 40 different potential opportunities per month,
Hmm.
and we take on about a dozen.
That's a really nice position to be in, isn't it? You've positioned yourself in the market as a premium provider, and people have to work to get to work with you, don't they?
Yeah, 100%. And it's all really thanks to doing good work in the beginning and
Hmm.
just continuing to do good work and continuing to get referrals. When we start with any client, we demand referrals. We say, look, we can't work with you unless you send us referrals. We might not work with them, but we need those referrals, because you'll get a lead from Google. If in any business, you could be an attorney.
Hmm.
You get a lead from Google, and it might be a great lead. It might make you $1 million, but that lead also 50-50 chance not going to be a good lead. But the best leads, in my opinion, are those that come from a warm referral.
Yes, somebody who's worked with you.
Yeah.
I wonder, Sam, for those that were unfortunately unable to work with you, they didn't meet your criteria, is all not lost in terms of, are there things that you provide them that they can do to, I guess, step up their standards and get to a point where they will work with you?
Well, but I've had people reach out to me despite not being approved to be a client of ours, and I'll always take a phone call. I'll always, if they can find my information or contact me on Instagram, I'll always give some kind of free consulting, pro bono consulting, because at the end of the day, I do want to help people, but I'm very selective about which campaigns I'm going to put 100 hours a month on,
Yes,
So
absolutely. You've got to guard your time, don't you?
100%.
So when people want to work with you, Sam, where are they going to go?
Well, there's a bunch of different other companies that can offer the same service.
Hmm.
However,
Hmm.
there have been multiple clients that I have actually, to answer your question, your last question,
Hmm.
I'll end up taking a client on after a year. They'll wait 1 year or 2 years in some cases to work with our company, because we just get the results. And I don't really know I know a lot of people that are doing paid ads and succeeding really well, but I don't know too many people out there that are doing SEO to the level that we're doing it. With the amount of speed that we get things done and
Hmm. Hmm.
advancements that we have, we're a Google partner. So we literally have Google representatives that are on call anytime there's an issue. And our clients love that. Is if they have an issue with Google, if something happens that's out of their control, we get them on the phone with Google and the problem's resolved in 10 minutes, while other people have to wait through a ticket system,
Yes.
all this kind of stuff. And you know how Google is.
Oh, absolutely.
They're
Did it take you long to get that Google partnership in place?
It did not take me that long. As soon as when I got into Fortune 500 consulting,
Hmm.
that's when I started to develop my partnerships and my associations with Google representatives.
Now, I'm seeing some things here. I'd just love to touch on it. There are so many different places. I'm excited about this call, Sam. I've got so many questions for you. Now, is it millennial365.com? Is that where people can go and check out your services?
Yes, that's correct.
Fantastic. Now, I've seen your website. There's a lot going on there. What's the first thing that a $1 million a year income revenue stream generating business should be looking for when they get there?
There's a big button. It says, get started now. Stop losing customers to your competition. That's what we're all about, dominating the competition. So get started now. It takes you directly to the forum. There's testimonials, and you can always email us for the case studies that we have. We've got a page, but we just don't make it public because there's too many companies out there that'll take your case studies. It's kind of crazy, your PDF, and brand it as their own.
Oh.
And that happened a couple times. We do get a lot of traffic, and it came back around, and we just don't do that anymore. We're very selective about who we take on, and we're not that private about our case studies.
Mm-hmm.
Just get in touch with us, and if you're a real potential opportunity, we'll share everything we have. It's not a big deal.
Thank you so much for sharing, Sam. Now, for everybody who's on the call today, this has been an eye-opener. There's lots of gold inside this call. Go back over the call, listen to it again and again, because I'm sure you'll dig out more the more times that you listen to it. Now, Sam, you can find him and his wonderful team at millennial365.com, of which I will make the URL available below this post. And Sam, thank you so very much for spending some time with me on the My Future Business show today.
Thank you so much, Rick. It's been an amazing pleasure. Thank you again.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the call, then make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, share us with your friends, and book your spot on the show at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. And if you're looking for solutions that will help grow your business, then visit myfuturebusiness.com/shop.